Welcome to the first module on basic safety for coastal oil spills. We will look at the oil spill safety protocols that are the standard set of rules established by agencies and industries. These are the expectations from an employer to ensure a safe and healthy working environment, as well as the engagement and compliance by you. This module is not a course on safety laws and regulations. It's about safely working together on oiled coastal shores. This module examines topics that must be adhered to so as to foster safety in the workplace, which at the best of times is always changing, sometimes not well defined, and not necessarily familiar to incoming workers. There are responsibilities on both sides of the coin regarding safety, those that hire and then you. Volunteers are not used during an oil spill. Instead, one offers their services or are canvassed by a hiring agency, then assessed for suitability, registered, assigned a job, provided an overview of the incident and its work setting, given a basic safety course, supplied with personal protective equipment, instructed on how to use this equipment and tools, supervised and paid. At this point, you are now a workforce member with safety responsibilities.
If you are involved in the early stages of an oil spill, a site safety plan may not be available. If one exists, you should become familiar with the information in it. If not, it will be important to start one as soon as possible. To help you, a site safety assessment should be completed at the same time as you are carrying out site control procedures. As you implement site control procedures and complete the safety assessment, keep these general practices in mind. If you are alone, get help before doing anything. Don't rush into the affected area without knowing the risks. Stay uphill, upwind, and upstream of the release. Stay clear of fumes and spilled oil because toxic substances like benzene and hydrogen sulfide can enter the body through your eyes, skin, mouth, and lungs and can negatively impact your short and long-term health. Identify all hazards, including those associated with the spilled product and specific worksite hazards. Keep uninvolved people and pets out of the spill area. In addition to completing an initial site safety plan, responders who are first on scene should also consider the following. The safety of personnel in the immediate area first, including your own safety. Use of the buddy system, especially at night or under adverse weather conditions and in remote areas. Do not wander into unknown areas alone. Enter impacted areas only when wearing appropriate protective gear. Rescue attempts and protecting property must be weighed against not only your safety and the safety of other initial responders, but also your ability to respond to the situation. Do not take any actions that may unnecessarily endanger you or anyone else or magnify the problem at hand. Establish a command post and lines of communication. Continually reassess the situation and modify a response accordingly. The safety of every responder is of the utmost importance, and every precaution must be taken to reduce or eliminate health and safety hazards prior to beginning response operations. The cold zone, or support zone, is an area free of contamination. It contains all support facilities, the staging area, bathroom facilities, and the command post. All eating and living areas must be kept in the cold zone. Warm zone, or contamination reduction zone, allows for an orderly transition from hot zone to the cold zone. Workers put on PPE and shed contaminated clothing, equipment, and personnel are decontaminated. The hot zone, or exclusion zone, contains the spill site and the area where cleanup operations will occur. Typically, this area would be the area you set up as your work zone.
The takeaway from this video is that worksite zones are established around an oil impact region. Shores that are directly oiled are referred to as the hot zone, and the designated locations to put on or take off your personal protective equipment, as well as for decontamination, is referred to as the warm zone. To work or even enter these two zones require that you have basic training on oil spills, as according to this course. It is important you report in, whether a field observer, incident manager, or workforce member. It is just good incident management and safety to know that each person is doing the right thing at the right place, at the right time, and in the right way. If you don't report in, then you might not be working under any safety umbrella. You may be required to report in at several locations, as listed. Look for a check-in signage or a person with a clipboard. You will have to check out as well if leaving a managed location. Please be patient. Everybody's interested in your safety and well-being. Receiving your arrival instructions are an aspect of this goal. Your supervisor will provide you the following: findings of a site-specific safety assessment, the safety measures needed to mitigate injury and health risks, emergency communications, where medical stations are located, site evacuations due to severe weather or tsunami alert, for reporting back on unsafe situations or practices, and more. Arrival instructions show that you know your assignment and will stick to it in a safe manner. This is also an opportunity to assess if you are qualified, capable, and willing to do the work before departing. As a workforce member, you might not see an incident or site-specific safety plan, but there will be one. Many of the hazards will be pre-identified, others are specific to the impact area, such as presence of wolves. As such, a safety plan is dynamic and evolving as the incident unfolds and new, unexpected hazards arise. You could help by providing feedback on unsafe situations. Supervisors routinely deliver tailgate safety briefings to offer you the opportunity to inform and hear about unsafe practices and situations, such as workers feeding a bear or a wolf with their lunch leftovers. Additional information to support site-specific safety is the Material Safety Data Sheet, often referred by just as acronym MSDS. It explains the health and toxicity of the oil spilled and stranded on shores, such as a crude, diesel, or bunker. An oil fact sheet explains the nature of the oil. On request, the MSDS can be provided and interpreted by a safety officer, whereas the oil fact sheet helps explain what to be expected on shore that requires assessments and removal. Safety briefings occur everywhere and all the time, often at the check-in locations and for each transport you take, such as on a boat or a helicopter. These meetings are required. You must attend and pay attention. They refresh or remind you of the standard hazards with your tasks and assignments. A bit boring, but important. They provide real-time information on new hazards, some which can cause serious injury or be fatal. Safety briefings are just a few minutes out of your work time. Take a close look at this video to see why and what a safety briefing looks like.
An important element in keeping responders safe during an incident is ensuring that everyone is aware of safety hazards that may occur during response operations. This information is passed along to all responders during a safety briefing that should be held prior to beginning response activities. A safety briefing is a discussion led by a team leader or safety officer that outlines the hazard at the site. Safety briefings should cover the important issues that will be encountered in the field, but they should not be a class in safety. They should be brief, directive, and concise. To ensure everyone's safety, never assume responders are aware of the hazards and risks that are present during operations. Each spill response is unique and will have a variety of issues that will require attention and action. Topics and procedures that may need to be covered in a briefing are: hazard information on the spilled product, a description of the work zone, planned and ongoing activities in your work zone, a plan for how to stay in touch with other responders, a plan for responding to medical or other emergencies, the dangers to responders in the work zone, including the following: working around lines or ropes under tension and the entanglement of a person in ropes, rigging, or booms, situations where crushing injuries may occur, slips, trips, and falls. Responders need to exercise caution in wet, muddy, icy, and rocky areas, especially when working on elevated areas. Safe lifting practices for heavy items that will be encountered. Exposure to extreme weather. Depending on air temperature and humidity, responders may experience heat stress, hypothermia, or frostbite. Wildlife may also present dangers. The presence of bears, moose, or marine mammals may require a spotter or guard. Safe vessel operations should be outlined and include an appropriate number of people for the size of boat, float and communication plan, man overboard procedures, personal flotation device, and other safety equipment to meet Coast Guard and state boating requirements. Finally, it's important to document that a safety briefing occurred.
Safety briefings occur every step of the way, from the time you arrive at the incident command post to finally getting to your work site. This progressive slide provides a scenario of shoreline cleanup assessment personnel preparing to go out into the field to document shoreline oiling levels and conditions. This is done before any cleanup commences. Pay attention to the consequences of not attending the briefing or ignoring their safety instructions. Personal protective equipment, referred to by the acronym PPE, is a significant and important aspect of your safety. You need to understand why and how to wear PPE and understand the limitations of each piece, such as coveralls and goggles. The level of PPE is just one step up from wearing regular cloth work attire to now include oil-resistant coveralls, gloves, and goggles. Safety officers refer this standard of protection as Level D PPE. Additional equipment, such as hearing protection, life jackets, and a respirator, are task, transport, and sensitivity specific, such as when near water or by loud equipment.
Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is equipment worn to minimize exposure to hazards. Crude oil, diesel, and other petroleum products have health and safety hazards associated with them, and exposure can have immediate and cumulative long-term impact on your health. During an oil spill response, PPE is required when exposure to these substances is expected. If you do not have personal protective equipment available, you should cease all response activity upon seeing, smelling, or becoming aware of oil in the immediate area. PPE is divided into 4 categories based on the level of protection afforded. Level D consists of work clothing affording minimal protection, used for situations like an oil spill. Level D PPE consists of coveralls, rain gear, or other impermeable outerwear, including Tyvek coveralls. Gloves, including work gloves and nitrile or rubber gloves. Boots and boot covers. Safety glasses or face shields. Hearing protection should be worn when working around noise-producing equipment. Personal flotation devices, called PFDs, should be worn if you are working on boats, along a shoreline, or on bulkheads or piers or ice. If respirators are introduced at the worksite, responders not trained in their use should immediately seek guidance.
This video provides an overview of personal protective equipment. This topic will be explored more fully in Module 3. If in trouble, you appreciate having somebody to help you. Adopting a buddy system of 2 or more people to work side by side has 3 important benefits. First is the alert of dangerous situation. Look, there's a bear in the bush. To monitor for exposure or fatigue. Hey, I think you're shivering too much. Go get warm. And lastly, to assist your buddy if injured, such as giving medical first aid on site or seeking such help. The buddy system only works if you're together, in sight, and in communication. This entire module that we just went through on safety protocols, on reporting, personal protective equipment, safety meetings, the buddy system, is to allow one to enter a work zone and do your tasks safely. This training video provides a summary of these requirements.
You should never work alone as part of an oil spill response. Prior to entering the work zone, you should be assigned to a team. Each team will have specific orders and tasks to complete under the direction of the team leader. After receiving an operations and safety briefing and putting on the appropriate PPE, you may enter the work zone with your team to assist with the response. Procedures should be established to track people entering and leaving the work zone. This will allow the site supervisor to know who is in the work zone and ensure responder safety. While in the work zone, you should continue to maintain a buddy system within the team to ensure safe operations. You should always know the location of your buddy. Monitor the integrity of their PPE and watch for any other problems that may arise. PPE and other equipment may be compromised during operations and may need to be fixed. Remember, all responders are responsible for safe operations. When you notice an unsafe situation, it is your responsibility to let someone know so that operations can be stopped until the necessary corrections have been made.